Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WPwatercooler, episode number 168. Today's topic is, what's the best forms plugin for WordPress? Let's go around the room real quick, get everyone introduced. Let's start with you, James. James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am James Laws. I'm the co-founder of WP Ninjas and the co-creator of the Ninja Forms WordPress form plugin.
Very nice. How about you, Russ?
So my name is Russ. I run WordCamp Vegas. I do lots of stuff with WordPress, and I love forums in general.
Sweet. What about you, Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Wefald. I'm the production manager at Zeek Interactive, and I facilitate the monthly OC WordPress design meetup.
Nice. Steve, what about you?
I am Steve Zehngut. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Awesome. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me Jason Tucker on Twitter, and WPmedia.pro is the website to go check out. So, today's topic, we're talking a little bit about what is the best form plugin for WordPress. We've discussed this, oh gosh, I think it was like 2 or 2.5 years ago. And so we thought we would go back and take a look at some of the old topics that we've discussed and see how they've changed and whatnot. So, you guys all use forms, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
I think it's a great way to get people to submit some information to you, and then you can spam the heck out of them, right?
But you can make them do so many other things as well. I mean, you can sell things with them, and
sell things, do like trivia quizzes, or there's all sorts of stuff you can do with them. Each one of them tends to have some type of add-on or something like that. So, Steve, what is the Wikipedia definition of it? Oh, he muted us. That guy.
Sorry, I'm back. I don't have the Wikipedia. What do you want the Wikipedia for?
Of what is a form?
According to Wikipedia, a form is.
Oh wow, check it out.
oh, he
There's
actually
a lot
is
of
reading
stuff.
it.
Sarah, hurry up and change Wikipedia.
This is the wrong definition, but form is the shape, visual appearance, constitution, or configuration of an object.
Oh, okay.
That's not the form I think we're talking about, though.
No, it's not the
How
form.
about a horse racing form?
A horse racing form. You probably could do a horse racing form.
So if you were building a horse racing form on WordPress, what would you use?
Always pick by the color of the. Never mind. Okay, what was the question?
So I guess let's kind of define forms real quick here, just so the people at home that don't know what a form is, what is it?
Well, it can be lots of things. I mean, at its basic level, I mean, the form I think of is a contact form, right? So you put a contact form on your website for people to contact you for more information. Like on the Zeek site, we have a contact form that is enter your name and email address and phone number and what you'd want to hire us for.
But
That's
I feel
a
like
very simple contact form.
I feel like on its most basic level, a form in general is a series of boxes in which you put stuff and then something happens.
Oh, you took it way down to the basic level.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
But I'm sorry, real quick. A form can also be, user-generated content. So you can make a form that creates posts within your WordPress site and upload, image uploaders and all kinds of stuff.
Boxes that you put stuff in,
right?
And then stuff happens.
And then do. Yes.
God, there's so much innuendo today.
So that's what I was going to get to with WordPress is when you look at the entire back end of it, it doesn't matter if you're editing a post or you're updating an option. They all use, open form, closed form with some options in between it, and WordPress is nothing but the back end of forms, which is pretty cool,
And it's too bad that people made plugins for this, because this is always a really fun thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, so at its basic level, forms, right, is some basic HTML tags that you may or may not be familiar with that you can enter data into, and then you submit that data to the server, and the server does something.
But the HTML tags is the easy part. Let's be honest here. Just adding a form to the front end of your site, and that's the easy part.
Exactly.
The collection of the data and the placement of it into a database, that's the hard part.
Certainly the challenge, right?
I mean, when I first started learning forms, I didn't even know about storing them to a database. It was just like form action equals thankyou.html, and in that HTML you had your variables. Like, I learned that way, where after you clicked off that page, all your information was lost forever. You had to re-enter everything every time.
Is that a problem?
It was a huge problem.
I still have the Wikipedia page up here, and the word form has about 50 different types of definitions, but I did just find HTML form.
Nice. It was at the very bottom.
I'm
Yeah.
Also,
Right in the middle.
I'm gonna look up PHP form just because I don't want to be biased on this.
A web
podcast.
form or a web form or an HTML form is on a web page allows a user to enter data that is sent to a server for processing.
Yeah, but this sounds like CGI-bin type stuff from way back in the day.
Well, I mean, one of my
You're dating us, man. You're dating us.
when I was learning, the PHPs and the everything of that nature, building forms was one of my. It felt like it was a really instructive way to just kind of get a hang of how PHP and HTML work together and how that all works with the server. So it was cool to do it myself, but I also quickly realized how many other things that you have to think about, like making sure somebody doesn't abuse all of your input so that then they just completely jack your database, and then your entire site gets hacked and everybody cries.
Like a SQL injection.
Yeah, exactly. So
Russ, you're muted.
as soon as plugins entered my life, I was just like, okay, I'm never going back ever.
Well, and that is really what you use plugins for, because there's all that other stuff that you don't necessarily think about. And there's even if you know all the stuff that you need to know for collecting data and putting it in the server, there's still other stuff that comes along all the time where people can hack your site through a web form, and it's important. So the better maintained plugins out there are going to take care of a lot of that stuff for you.
I would agree.
Absolutely.
So, James, you guys build a form plugin, right?
Right.
Oh, go look at that.
And I'm trying to be as impartial as possible, so not to be self-promoting or anything like that. There's, we talked.
There's no rules against that on this show.
Yeah, I
know.
think you should start dropping affiliate links left and right.
We had GoDaddy on the show. They didn't talk about DreamHost, okay?
No, sure, certainly.
That's a fair
But
statement.
there are, the topic is what is the best form plugin for WordPress, and I think that's a misnomer, because it gives the impression that there is an absolute best situation, a best plugin for every use case, and I think different plugins fulfill different needs. You definitely want one that's updated frequently for security and things like that, but not every form plugin is necessary for everybody's use case. We had the joke, I think somebody said earlier, that they use the Jetpack contact form module. Well, you know what? For some people, that actually might be all that they need. And that's completely sufficient. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you go beyond that and you want to add new fields and you want to add radio buttons and drop downs and different kinds of selectors that form builders or more robust form builders come into play.
Sure.
James for president.
Yeah, that was quite diplomatic.
That was a great answer.
I'm just gonna go. I don't know, completely undiplomatic.
James had me at misnomer.
True, that's true. I mean, I know for me as a beginning developer, the second that I discovered the joys of having a developer license for Gravity Forms, like that was the moment where I was like, I'm never hand coding one of these things ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, okay, so let's talk about Gravity Forms for a minute. Gravity Forms is cool. I use Gravity Forms. I use it on several of our websites, but it's great at what it does, right? And if you just kind of stay within the lane on Gravity Forms, you just kind of stay within their structure, it's excellent. When you want to start doing custom stuff with Gravity Forms, it can be a pain. It can be a challenge.
Let's define these custom things. What is a use case in which?
So Gravity Forms, like anything else, has its own set of hooks and filters. So if you want something specific to happen outside of the standard Gravity Forms stuff, and you want it to kind of integrate with your site in certain ways, you have to work within their hooks and filter system. And you could, it's kind of similar to WordPress and kind of not, and it's got its own little platform within WordPress, and it can be there's a learning curve there.
Well, not only that, but I mean, there's a simple plugin to where you can map data to go to a custom post type. That's pretty cool. That's easy to do. But when you start going outside of your site, like our mortgage site, we take a Gravity form and we send all of the leads to a third-party site. Making Gravity forms work with that site was very difficult. There was a lot of information to parse through that we didn't need. And I think that's what Steve is saying, is when you try to go outside of the spec of WordPress, it can get a little complicated.
Now, that being said, I do love Gravity Forms.
I do too.
I use it on lots of sites, and Gravity Forms, like WooCommerce, has its own little ecosystem, right? There's a lot of people who develop third-party technology for Gravity Forms.
I would even say that Gravity Forms is more like Genesis. It's almost their own framework, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But outside of, I mean, Gravity Forms is one of the most popular. When you go to the WordPress repo and you search Gravity Forms, there's plenty of free extensions and add-ons. It's great. But for the most part, I mean, I haven't had a problem, but their support has been really good. I can usually get a hold of Carl or somebody, you know, within 24 hours, and they can at least refer me to the right place to go to read about what I'm trying to do.
And I'm with Sarah on this one. If you buy a license for Gravity Forms, buy the full license. Buy the big developer license. You'll need it.
Yeah, definitely, because you're going to miss a bunch of stuff if you don't.
Because like when I was freelancing, having that license, I could be sitting with a client and just be like, they're like, hey, so we want to start selling, tickets to workshops. Does that mean we have to add like an entire e-commerce platform into our site? I'm like, no. Like, let me just download this one thing from the Gravity Forms people's website and install it. And hey, look, guys, we're done. Look, here now you're selling tickets to your thing.
So one of the things, I'm sorry, James. One of the things that I thought was missing in Gravity Forms for a while, and it's changed over the past year, I think, was a repeater type of field.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would find in advanced custom fields. So the repeater was a little weak, and it's gotten better, but it's still not great.
Sure. So you're talking about like if I wanted people to RSVP and you wanted to say like, are you bringing a +1? They'd check yes, and then another or like duplicate fields would pop up, and then they'd say like a +2 and duplicate fields would pop up. You're talking like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So a repeater is as many as the user wants.
Yeah. My way was a really long-winded way of
explaining
what it was. Yours was a very simple-winded way to say it.
I got it off of Wikipedia.
Mine was a misnomer.
No, we've used that type of functionality for selling T-shirts and selling multiple T-shirts, so the person could just keep adding both a blue shirt and a red shirt and a green shirt and one of extra large and small and what have you. So
the Wikipedia definition of repeater is completely off base. It has nothing to do with a form.
You talk about that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Russ.
No, go ahead.
James, I have a question for you. Is when you sought out to do Ninja Forms, I always believe that you solve a problem and then the business comes with it. You don't start a business just to sell whatever. What problems or what were you trying to solve with Ninja Forms that led you onto the path of building such a thing with Pippin Williamson? Right? I think he was a small contributor.
He's definitely contributed to the core code base a little bit, and he built our first third-party add-on. So we have a Ninja Forms is a little different than Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms has an ecosystem, and there's some people who build add-ons, sell their own products, obviously, that extend Gravity in some way. Whereas Ninja Forms has an ecosystem, but it's a in-house marketplace, so third-party people can sell their add-ons right through Ninja Forms website to kind of get exposure that way. So instead of them having to build their own exposure, they can actually get exposure through what we're already building as a brand. So he built our first one, our MailChimp add-on, and then went on and did a few other mailing lists. So when we got started with Ninja Forms, to be honest, I was just completely ignorant of the space. WordPress in general is, a few years ago. a long time ago. At that time, I was just a user doing a little bit of development. And I didn't even really know of any of the other solutions. So we were fixing a problem for a client, and we built the solution. And then we thought, oh, I wonder if anyone would use this. And so we started kind of putting it out there. What really was the catalyst for us is when WP Candy, way back when that was actually a thing, covered our launch. Yeah, right. It covered our launch, and all these people came on and said, why bother building a form plugin when there's already Gravity Forms, right? And that, to me, was the challenge. Okay, challenge accepted, right? Like, can there be another force that does something different? And what differentiated us was our add-on model. But like Sarah said, right, that there is this need of just the developer package where you can just get anything that you need. We actually ended up going that route as well with our membership. So we created a Ninja Forms membership so you have an all-inclusive access to every add-on that's built for our platform and anything that comes out in the future. So when somebody wants to collect a payment, you don't have to sit there and say, oh, let's get an e-commerce solution. Let's just grab Stripe or PayPal or something and collect that payment. Not a problem.
It's a great way of going about it.
And you know what, James? Even though there are other products in the space, there are other form builders in the space, execution is what's key, right? Mm-hmm. Execution is what counts. So you
absolutely
executed better or differently, and you've been successful with it.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen great success. We have people who switch from Gravity Forms to Ninja Forms. We have people who probably switch from Ninja Forms to Gravity Forms. We have people who've left us for Caldera and Formidable, and people who've left them for us. This is a big ecosystem, actually. There are a lot of products in the space, and they're all doing it a little bit differently, solving essentially the same problems but in different ways, and they're all actually really good products. I wouldn't down any of them depending on what you're trying to do.
Well, so let's be honest. I mean, Gravity Forms is very cumbersome, right? I always hesitate when I put a Gravity Forms editor in front of a client, right? That's a lot for a client to learn to build a form. Now, you know, we use it and we let them know, hey, we can change the form at any time, but ultimately we're the ones who are going to be changing that form for them because the client's going to get overwhelmed or worse, make a mistake because it is a pretty complex system.
Man, yeah, we're sure dropping some words today. Misnomer, cumbersome. What else you guys got, man?
Let me pull out words as friends really quick while we're
right.
No, you're right. You know what? UI is a big issue and it can be cumbersome. One of the things that like we're doing in our 3.0, which our beta is going to launch in about a week. We've rebuilt Ninja Forms from the ground up, and it is probably 75% JavaScript now, kind of moving in the way that WordPress is headed. So the back end is Backbone and Marionette and React.js and a lot of cool technologies that are doing some pretty cool stuff. But we reimagined how the UI and the builder should work for users so that not just techno people can sit there and go in and go, oh yeah, I can build this really easy. But users, it's just very intuitive. But part of that process is breaking things. So we actually added an undo manager. So you can kind of go through and say, oh, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. You just click a button and it does that change immediately, and you can just keep going.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
I'm not, I only use Gravity Forms. I'm not familiar with the other ones you mentioned, Formidable Pro, and I know Chris Lemma talks about that one a lot. Yeah. I don't use Contact Form 7. I think that's still a thing, right?
It is. Still very popular.
Yeah. It keeps showing up in themes.
I think they're about to merge with Jetpack.
Then you had other ones like Contact Form 7 was one that was pretty big when I was starting out. How's that thing still faring?
Well, that's because you could do that from the command line, right, Jason?
I don't know. With Contact Form 7, it's like when an old freelance client asked me to help them, you know, like do some edits and things of that nature, and I helped them by uninstalling it and redoing everything in Gravity Forms.
Okay, but the Contact Form 7's advantage is it's free.
Yep.
No, well, not only that, but I mean, like it's very simple in the way of add this, push send, and drop a shortcode. I mean, it's very simple. It's not going to map to crazy post types. It's not going to do all that. It's a simple contact form.
It's very simple. If you want to do things in HTML again, if you want to go back to building HTML forms, Contact Form 7 is perfect for you.
And free isn't free. Okay, it's free price-wise, but that it may take you a long time to actually build a form.
That was a song in Team America, wasn't it?
Freedom isn't free.
It costs $1.05.
So I actually suggested to Bridget Willard that she install Contact Form 7 to just understand like the struggle that we all had with it. But like that was one of the first things that I would say 90% of the people who you think are the WordPress community started with. So I recommended that to her, and she's like, "But wait, how do I add a field? How do I drag and drop? How do
it's all shortcuts. Have fun.
Yeah, and
you can drag and drop the text, but that's not going to do anything.
Well, it's more of a copy paste than a drag and drop.
So you definitely want to, if you want to go through the struggle, then to start with something like that and then kind of work your way up. But yeah, we were talking about even like Jetpack having this built in. So if you're somebody who uses Jetpack and you just need to collect first name, last name, email address, perfect.
Yeah, fair enough.
Until you get into like, I want to have this stuff show up in MailChimp or eWeber or something like that. That's when you have to get into these additional more premium type plugins for this.
Well, I think a lot of people are interested in multiple things happening at once, where somebody signs up for a newsletter, but they're also creating a membership on your site, and they're also like buying a box of Girl Scout cookies through your form at the same time. Like people like having.
You can do that? Is there a Girl Scout cookies plugin?
Listen, I would use more third-party sites to buy stuff if there was an option to add Thin Mints to this order. I would do it every single time. But
I think there's a WordPress hook for that. Get_Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What I like about Gravity Forms and what I like about Formidable is I can have people sign up to my newsletter, create a membership on my site, and also get a support license or something all in one shot. I don't have to have them fill out 3 or 4 separate forms. I think that's why Contact Form 7 isn't what it used to be, because it doesn't do that anymore. I don't think it ever did that, but it definitely doesn't do it on the scale that these plugins are doing it now.
And apparently there's a ridiculous number of form plugins that are out there. I would, if you're poking around to kind of get an idea of what's the right one for you. Listening to us, we've kind of gone through this a couple times, I'd imagine. So you may want to start, thinking about some of the plugins that we're looking at and have used in the past.
I agree. You should use Ninja Forms.
There it is.
That was the consensus, right? I just want to make sure.
We may want to be able to, want to test this out for you and see how that works. So we may have to speak after.
All right.
Well, so, I mean, the safety in using Gravity Forms is when you go to a WordCamp or to a meetup, you can please don't throw a bowling ball, but you can throw a bowling ball into the crowd and hit somebody that has used Gravity Forms in some way, and you can at least have some kind of conversation to get going on the right way.
You should throw a bowling ball at WordCamp Vegas. Don't do it at WordCamp Orange County.
Especially during the opening talk, yes.
Yeah.
Because if you walk up and say, I use easy form whatever, people are just going to look at you and go, I've never used that before. I don't know what to do here. But if you said, I use Gravity Forms, they're like, oh, at least I have a kind of a base to work off of. I know I can sell stuff with it. I know I can interact with it through Stripe or something like that. I can put it into a mailing list software or online service or whatever. So, yeah, you're totally right, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, Code Canyon has a bunch of ones. Like, I've never used them, but I mean, most of them sound like jokes. It's like Formcraft, where it sounds like Minecraft meets something whatever. I don't know. I like having the safety of I can ask anybody, and more than likely they'll be able to say, I haven't done that yet, but my friend has, and I can meet somebody else that way too.
It is a conversation starter. So, kind of a common theme in topics like this on our show is that we usually say it depends, and it kind of does just depend, right? I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to get at and what you're wanting to do with that particular form, right?
It depends on whether or not you want a plugin that's going to give you something you can work with.
Yep. So I guess we are saying that the premium themes are more of the ones that we should really be looking at, or at least the ones that have add-ons to kind of build off of.
Well, no. I think the message is that you want a contact form plugin that can scale when you're ready to scale or you need it to scale. Because, like you can just use Ninja Forms as is, and then when you're ready to scale to go into Stripe or to MailChimp, it can go, it can grow with you, And I think Gravity is the same way, Formidable is the same way. You have that security in knowing that you don't have to rebuild or start from scratch when you want to move your business in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was actually the initial, that is actually the problem I think Ninja Forms solved. I mean, we build forms, Gravity Forms build forms, Formidable builds forms. We all solve kind of the same plugin problem, but from a business model, that's actually where Ninja Forms kind of differentiated in the sense that it was something that grew with you. If you needed just a basic form, it was free. You could do that. You could do a lot of stuff on top of that. But then when you needed a mailing list integration, a CRM integration, or to collect payments, you just bought that thing that you needed for that next step in your business, and that's appealed to a large majority of our users.
So James, I have a question for you. I'm looking at your extensions list,
yeah.
And it says conditional logic. Is that something that is not in Ninja Forms out of the box?
That is correct. So we actually sell the conditional logic add-on. I know that's been a number of debate, that comes included with Gravity Forms. Sure, but Ninja Forms is free at its base level. So yes, there are things that you pay for as you add on, and if you need them, you buy those. And I'll also say this right out front. We're more expensive than any other form plugin, hands down, period, no ifs, ands, or buts, even though we are a freemium add-on. $4.99 is our top tier to get all in. If you were to buy our add-ons as individual pieces over the years, you probably spend thousands of dollars if you did it that way. That's not the smart way if you need an all-in package. We are more expensive.
But you totally wouldn't mind if somebody did spend thousands of dollars to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have customers who have spent thousands. We have those customers, and we are grateful for them, and that's the way they've chosen to do it. And we try to do whatever we can for them to kind of make the platform work for them if they're going to spend that much money.
Sure.
And if you're spending that much money, you get the support of doing a live screen share or quicker response times or whatever else for
absolutely.
So
I think that's the main reason you want to pay is because you're supporting an ecosystem, or you're buying into an ecosystem where someone's going to help you, and there's also active development happening all the time.
Absolutely.
And not a whole lot of our customers understand that because they just think you build it once and then you're good to go and you never have to do any updates, you never have to do anything, and why am I even paying you to do the updates? It should just be free, right?
And then everything gets hacked, and then people cry.
Rinse, repeat.
Exactly.
Many tears.
So we got 2 minutes left. Any kind of final words we wanted to tell the folks at home? Kind of what we're looking at here with forms and what they should be doing with them.
You should be doing everything with forms.
Yeah. And just because you can do something for free doesn't mean that you should.
Fair enough.
Actually, I'd say you should never do something for free. You'll always pay the price down the road.
Well, there will always be a price associated with it, free or not.
Free is never free. Free is always more expensive.
Right. It costs $1.05.
So the first thing that I learned with forms is you need to just get in there and play with them and figure out what they do and how you can use them to your benefit. Because, I mean, you could take Ninja Forms or Gravity Forms and you could spend 2 whole days just learning how they work and with custom fields and mapping them. I mean, it could be crazy. So take your time and learn. That's how I started. And now, if there were certificates, I would have one. I would have a Gravity Form certificate.
So 2 whole days, is that your estimate? That's what it takes to learn a form plugin?
I mean,
2 days while you're watching Netflix. Should be pretty easy.
No. Rust was specific. 2 whole days. It takes exactly 48 hours to learn a form plugin.
With no sleep.
No, 2 business days.
So they have to be 48 consecutive hours.
2 business days. So more than 48 hours.
2 days straight, nothing but Red Bull and just straight through, and Like, don't get distracted by Channing Tatum's index finger. Nothing. Go straight and just.
So, are we saying that we should build a
Index
really cool form with one of the more premium plugins, and then we'll tell Russ he needs to totally reconstruct it using Contact Form 7, and then 48 hours later we'll have something built?
Exactly.
Perfect. Let's do that.
That's what I'm hearing.
Russ, that's your homework, dude.
As long as he has a case of Red Bull. That's what I heard.
Yeah. 48
Awesome.
consecutive hours.
All right, Russ, start now, and then we'll hit you up next week.
So, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Happy
This
New
was
Year.
our last show of 2015.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Crazy.
Is this where we're supposed to like be reflective on the year that we've had together?
No, unfortunately, we're all out of time.
Oh.
We're all out of time. All right, folks, make sure you go to our website at WPwatercooler.com. Click on the links there to subscribe. If you like this show, click the little thumbs up button. And if you want to listen to us and not watch us, you can subscribe to us via iTunes. All right, folks, see y'all later.
See you in 2016.
Woohoo.
See ya.
Bye.